Hello everyone, Kit here, back with the video. Today I'm going to be reading the Jamaica Cartography, chronological list of the maps of Jamaica in the Library of Congress. I'll leave a link to this document down in the description below, along for email. You can email us at theblinds@gmail.com for a private consultation. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Institute of Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica Cartography. Jamaica Cartography, chronological list of the maps of Jamaica in the Library of the Institute of Jamaica, both on separate sheets and in books with some notes on the history of the parishes of the island. Okay, starts here. Jamaica Cartography, chronological list of the maps of Jamaica in the Library of the Institute of Jamaica, both on separate sheets and in books, with some notes on the history of the parishes of the island. In the maps of Jamaica. In the following list, a few titles of Jamaica maps which are known to have been published have been added to those which are already in the Library of the Institute. These additional maps are marked with a X. Notes in italics have been entered in events in Jamaica history which have had an effect on its cartography. The notes between square brackets are not on the maps themselves. A new and exact map of ye Isle of Jamaica, as is lately surveyed by order of Sir Thomas Mitford, Bart, late Glover, divided into preents or parishes, with its ports, bays, etc., printed for Richard Bloom, London in 1671. A good amount of this book is in French, so I'm just going to skim over the French part. A new map of the island of Jamaica, most humbly inscribed to the right honorable Thomas Earl of Stamford and N.E., with inset map of the harbor of Port Royal, part of a new map of the English Empire in the Ocean of America or West Indies, revisited by one SNX, one Hare Scope, a new exact map of the island of Jamaica with the true and such situation of ye servile towns and churches, and those aslow the plantations with their names, and ye names of ye proprietors, with amendments of great part of ye sea coast, but more especially ye harbor of Port Royal, by actually survey to satisfy such as desire to know ye true longitude and latitude of any places mentioned in this map. The latitude of Port Royal was currently taken by a gnomon of more than 23 foot high and found to be 17 by 32, and its longitude from London 76 westward, or 5 hours and 4 minutes. The characters expressed in the map are for towns, churches, sugar works, Indie works, cotton works, and revision plantations. Cow walks and crawlers for hogs, and pens for cattle, dedicated to Sir Thomas Lynch, governor by Charles Bohart and Humphrey Clonis. The island of Jamaica, divided into its principal parishes with the roads by H. Mall Geographica, in by equals 60 miles, is still Jamaica. A new map of the island of Jamaica, with characters expressed for towns, churches, sugar works, indigo works, cotton and provisions, cacao walks, crawls for hogs, and pens for cattle. A map of the island of Jamaica with exact plans of the towns of Port Royal and Kingston by Archibald Bonantine, His Majesty's Chief Engineer, and in ye said island during the late war. Dedicated to H.R.H. William Duke of Cumberland. Published 1st March 1753, no scale. A new map of Jamaica exhibiting the boundaries of each parish and the different post roads throughout the island, laid down from the latest surveys. Scale 2.5 inches equals 30 miles. With incent map of a general plan of Port Royal, in which the different states of the town are currently laid down. Scale 1 inch equals 800 feet. A new map of Jamaica in which the several towns, forts, and settlements are accurately laid down, as well as the situations and depths of the most noted harbors and anchoring places, with the limits and boundaries of the different parishes, as they have been regulated by law or settled by custom, the greater part drawn or corrected from actual surveys made by Mr. Sheffield and others. London, 1st January 1771, with inset map of a general plan of Port Royal, in which the different states of the town. According to a survey made in the year MDCLXX, no scale, I don't know what that means, and I'm pretty sure it's Roman, though. No scale. T. Kitchin Sculp, in Long History of Jamaica, copied from Blome. Divided into countries and parishes according to the best authorities. A map of the island of Jamaica, divided into countries and parishes for the history of the British West Indies, by Brian Edwards in 1794, with explanations and plantations and settlements, churches and chapels, forts and barracks, rivers, roads, anchorage for large and small vessels, parish boundaries, center of the island, and brine cattle. Jamaica from the latest surveys, improved and engraved by Thomas Jeffries, Geographica to the King, published 12th of May 1794, 3.5 inches equals 30 miles. To His Royal Highness the Duke of York, this map of the country of Middlesex in the island of Jamaica, constructed from actual surveys under the authority of the Hon, House of Assembly, by whom it has been examined and unanimously approved, with its permission, most humbly inscribed by His Royal Highness's faithful and most devoted servant, James Robinson A.M. 1804, London, published November 1st, 1804, by James Robertson, A.M., late of Jamaica. Geological map of the eastern half of Jamaica, by Sir Henry Thomas de la Beche, 1823. In the remarks of the Gloss Geologically of Jamaica are ad before the Royal Geological Society, 1825 and 1826. Map of the province of Surrey in the island of Jamaica, constructed from the maps of the countries as subdivided into parishes under Mr. Barclay's Act for the subdivision of the parishes of the island. First via Cap 34 and 9 via Cap 44, with numerous additions of roads, rivers, settlements, mountains, etc., carefully collected from the large surveys, and this map drawn by the orders and under the inspection of the Honorable House of Assembly in 1846 and 1847 by Edward McGeechee, Crown Surveyor of the Province of Surrey, MS, scale 1 mile 1 inch. The map of the province of Middlesex in the island of Jamaica is compiled according to the acts of the legislature for the subdivision of the parishes, passed the 1 and 9 via Caps 34 and 44, and entitled an act to appoint commissioners to make a new arrangement of parishes for the better civil and ecclesiastical government, drawn by the order of the Honorable House of Assembly in the years 1846, 47, and 48, by John M. Smith, Crown Surveyor, Middlesex. Map of the county of Surrey in the land of Jamaica, showing the topographical features, the line of march of the troops and Maroons. and the situation of the several villagers burnt or partially so during the disturbances in October and November 1965. Prepared for the information of the Royal Commissioners by John Perry, Executive Engineer for the County of Surrey. Cadastral maps of the different parishes of the island prepared from numerous surveys made. I'm not sure if some of the words in here are kind of quite faded. It's hard to make out sometimes. Surveys meet at different times by different surveyors, being the best authorities possible by Thomas Harrison, government surveyor. Those maps represent every property and parcel of land to the island from 10 acres and upwards, and show the extent area, boundaries and names, as well as the names of the owners, also the roads, rivers, and topographical details. In the Surveyor General's Office, Kingston, scale 28 chains, or quarter of a mile equals 1 inch. The north and west coasts compiled chiefly from a running survey by Commander R. Owen, R.N. 1871, the south coast from the surveys of Staff Commander G. Stanley, R.N. 1873-75, and Lieutenant T.F. Pullen, R.N. 1876, published at the Admiralty 31st of March 1866, under the superintendence of Captain G. H. Richards, R.N. Hydrographer, Corrections, November 1877. Map of Jamaica prepared from the best authorities by order of His Excellency Sir Henry Wild Norman, G.C.B., Captain, or C.C.B., Captain General and his Governor-in-Chief, 1888. Prepared in the Public Woe Kiss Department by Colin Little, Acting Government Surveyor, Kingston, Jamaica, 6th of January 1888, seal 5.5 inches equals 15 miles. History of the parishes. As many of the maps in the lists given above are without dates, it becomes necessary to trace the formation and alteration of the various parishes of the island in order to give to them an approximate date, and the notes which were made for that purpose are now appended. In Hickerendall's Jamaica Viewed, published in the year 1661, appears what is probably the oldest English map of the island, with the exception of Gandabo, the 7 plantations, the Angels, and St. Jago de la Vega. Only towns on the seaboard are mentioned in it, and there's no attempt to divide the island into parishes. In a census taken in 1662 of Bridges and Anula, the island was divided into 10 districts as follows: the residents of Port Morantano, Port Yosleth, and Legand, the town of St. Angelo de Vela, between the Black River, Bowen Savannah, and thereabouts, in the Angels and the English quarters, in the 7 plantations, Marcia Quanthaboa, in the quarters Quanthman and Quandela, and upon Point Kangway. Sir Thomas Modiford, in his view of the condition of Jamaica, the 1st of October 1664, reprinted in the appendix of the first volume of the Journals of the House of Assembly, says there is an island but 7 established parishes, in the town and parish of St. Cathandrin's, St. John's, and the town and parish of Port Royal, Clarendon, St. David Street, St. Andrews, and St. Thomas, which are very large, and in them all but one church. And in St. Catherine's, Robbie in his History of the Parish of St. James observes, "It is true that the law says that about the crime when Colonel Edward D. Oily received his commission as governor from Charles II, 1661, or soon afterwards, is the land divided into 12 districts, which he cremates, adding to the seven parishes already mentioned in St. Geo, St. Mary, St. Vine, St. James, and St. Elizabeth, and states, the parish of St. David was part of the precinct of St. Thomas in the east, and St. George was part of the precinct of St. Mary." Alright guys, I made it off here. I'll see you guys next part. Like, subscribe, and once again, I have this down in the description below, along with our email. You can email us at mullings@gmail.com for private consultation. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a nice day. Goodbye.